So what happened to the 390 Adventure that my buddy had and I got to ride a few times? Well, he kept it for 6 months or so and put the skid plate and stuff on it and then traded it. He had it for weeks, you know, rode it like 5 times this spring and was like, nah, I can't handle it anymore. And he traded it for a DR650 with 10,000 miles almost. And I think he's been riding that bike more than he's ridden anything since I've known him. And he's probably had 40 bikes, you know, in the past 20 years. And maybe more. You know, the guy's just always a different bike. And that DR650, he said, you know, when, you know, he looked at all the review videos and read all the specs and always was like, I don't know, there's just something. He rode a, you know, the older generation one in high school, and it was a pig, and it didn't get good traction, and the suspension was bad, whatever it was. He didn't gel with it, and so he had this bad taste in his mouth. And now he's on this DR650, and you can't get him off of it. It's like, he said, dude, where has this bike been all my life? And you know, most of the time he gets a new bike, he tells me, oh, don't wheelie it, don't bang it off the rev limiter. And this bike, he was like, dude, you're gonna love this thing, you got to take it out right now and just wheelie it and, you know, bang it off the rev limiter, ride it like you ride. And I took it out, and holy cow, you know, that's a good bike. And then we've been on some longer rides on it together, and we've swapped for, you know, an hour. And the thing is like silent and calm on the freeway at 70. It just wants to be there. Like, you don't even have to click it into 5th gear until you're going you know, 55 or something. It's surprisingly good on the freeway. It gets worse fuel economy, and it's got a carburetor, so you got to get the jetting right and all that, which, you know, isn't super huge deal. It's louder, the airbox is open, so it like makes all these noises. Sorry, noise wasn't a good one for my throat. Anyhow, it's a great bike, you know, and he's a lot happier with that than he has been with a lot of other bikes. And, you know, his list is KLX 250 and XR 250, XR 600, XR 650, L, DRZ 400, WR 250R. And at one point he had 2 of those things, and he told me, this is the best bike I've ever owned, and I'm never gonna not have a WR 250R. You know, I love it. I love the way it's engineered. It's beautiful. Everything works perfect. It's, you know. And then all of a sudden he didn't have one anymore, and I'm like, dude, I thought you loved that thing. Well, you know, after we did the BDR trips on it and stuff, I was too tall, and I just couldn't ever get comfortable on the suspension. And I'll tell you something about adjustable suspension. For like the novice average dude, you're just as likely to really screw up your suspension and have a worse time than if you can't adjust it at all and just live with the way it is. Because, you know, half the time we went out riding, he'd like, oh, dude, when I must have been drunk when I adjusted my suspension. I had one clicker all the way in and one clicker all the way out, and the preload on the back all the way down, and the, you know, the height of the shock all the way up. And it's like, dude, you know. And the thing was deflecting, you know, that's user error. But the dude's an awesome mechanic. But, you know, if you're not focused on what you're doing, I guess, and it's just like, if you can't find an adjustment that makes you happy, you're not going to like it just as much as if you can't adjust it at all. And when I ride this thing, I honestly don't even think about the suspension. You know, I was out jumping it tonight, and I heard it clack a few times, but, you know, it's fine. You know, I'm 225 pounds, and this bike is fine. There's better out there, and there's worse out there, and this one's probably right in the middle. I mean, my CB500X had not good suspension when I got it either. I mean, it was serviceable, but as soon as I put the Rally Raid stuff on there, I was like, wow, this is a lot better. you know, there was no more worrying mid-corner if I was going to hit a bump or something. It just worked a lot better everywhere. And so, you know, I think that having the ability to adjust your suspension is just one more variable you can get wrong. And you know, it works if you spend the time and you read the book and you put it where the book tells you to put it, and you double check that, you know, and you do it right, and you make sure it says, okay, go all the way to the right and 16 clicks out from there, or if it says go all the way to the left and 16 clicks in from there, whatever it is. If you do it what the book says, then you'll have a baseline, and make little adjustments from there. 2 clicks in, see if you like it stiffer, then go back to stock. 2 clicks out, see if you like it better there, then go back to stock. And yeah, you'll probably find that you're going to end up pretty close to stock, unless you want like no compression damping. Then you'll go all the way out, and you let that fork soak everything up, which is basically what this has. Is very little suspension damping. You know, when you hit a bump or you push down on the seat, it goes you know, a couple full cycles before it stops, and you know, ideally it would come quickly back to rest, and it wouldn't go really past full stroke. You know, it wouldn't bounce, but it bounces, and who cares? You know, the thing works. If there was an adjustment to make, you know, I'd probably be wrong to make it, you know. Or you spend $1,000 like any bike and you get it professionally tuned for you. You know, there's people who spend 12 grand on a KTM and then drop another $1,500 on getting the suspension dialed for them perfect. Or they keep the forks from their last bike and are always just rotating forks. They got a set of forks that works for them, and they just crank up the, you know, they can deal with the shock the way it is, but they have their own forks that they like. You know, I probably won't ever be that guy. So, check you later.